Someone you trusted completely is the reason you are broken right now. Not a stranger, not an enemy. Someone who knew your name, your fears, your silence, and used every single one of them against you. And the worst part, you never saw it coming. You thought loyalty was real. You thought people meant what they said. Marcus Aurelius saw through all of it 2,000 years ago. And what he discovered will change the way you see every person in your life. There is a kind of pain that words barely touch. It is not the pain of losing a job or failing at something you work for. It is the pain of looking at someone you love, a friend, a partner, a family member, and realizing that the version of them you believed in never actually existed. You built a relationship with a lie wearing a human face. And when that truth surfaces, it does not just hurt you, it unmakes you. It makes you question your own judgment. It makes you wonder if you were naive, stupid, blind. It reaches back through every memory you shared and poisons all of them. That is what betrayal truly is. It is not just an act, it is an erasure. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man alive, emperor of Rome, commander of armies, and yet, the pages of his private journal, what we now call the Meditations, were not filled with strategies of war or celebrations of conquest. They were filled with one quiet, devastating obsession. How do you survive the people closest to you? How do you keep your soul intact when the world around you is full of those who smile at your face and sharpen their knives behind your back? He was not writing for history. He was writing because he was bleeding, and nobody knew. Here is the first dark truth he uncovered. Most betrayal does not announce itself. It builds slowly, quietly, invisibly, the way a crack forms in a wall long before the wall collapses. The person who will eventually betray you is almost never the one you suspected. It is the one who was always there, the one who knew exactly what you were building and exactly where to strike. And the reason you did not see it coming is not because you were foolish. It is because you were loyal. Loyalty makes you blind, not in a stupid way, in a deeply human way. You projected your own values onto someone who did not share them. You assumed that because you would never do that, they wouldn't either. That assumption is where betrayal lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that sounds gentle on the surface, but cuts like a blade underneath. He said that when you wake up each morning, remind yourself that you will meet people who are ungrateful, dishonest, and cruel, and that it will not surprise you. Most people read this as pessimism. It is not. It is armor. He was not teaching hatred of others. He was teaching immunity to shock. Because the moment you are no longer surprised by betrayal, you lose the ability to be destroyed by it. You stop handing your peace of mind to people who were never qualified to hold it. But here's where it gets darker. Because it is not just the act of betrayal that wounds you. It is the silence that follows. The way the person who betrayed you continues to live, continues to laugh, continues to build their life, as if what they did to you was nothing, as if you were nothing. And in that silence, a question begins to eat you from the inside. Did it even matter to them? The answer, most of the time, is no. And that answer is harder to survive than the betrayal itself, because it forces you to confront something almost unbearable. You meant more to them than they ever meant to demonstrate. Aurelius would tell you that this is the moment most people destroy themselves, not through what happened to them, through what they do next. They let the poison spread. They replay the betrayal 1,000 times. They build entire internal courtrooms where they prosecute the person who hurt them over and over, in a trial that never ends and never heals anything. They become smaller, more guarded, more bitter. They begin to punish everyone who comes after for the crimes of the one who came before. And slowly, quietly, the person who betrayed them wins twice. Once when they stabbed you, and once when you handed them your future. This is the part nobody talks about. Betrayal is a weapon with two edges. The first cut comes from the person who wronged you. The second cut, the deeper one, you inflict on yourself. Every time you choose rage over clarity. Every time you choose revenge over rebuilding. Every time you let what they did define what you become. Marcus Aurelius understood power, real power, not as the ability to destroy your enemies, but as the ability to remain yourself when everything inside you is screaming to become something lesser. That is discipline at its most profound, not the discipline of silence or forced forgiveness. The discipline of refusing to let someone else's betrayal become your identity. Now here is the twist that Aurelius spent his entire life sitting with, and most people never reach. The ones who betray you are almost always in pain themselves. Not the kind of pain that excuses what they did. Nothing excuses it. But the kind of pain that explains it. People who are whole, who are secure, who are at peace, they do not need to betray others. They do not need to tear down what someone else is building to feel safe. Betrayal is almost always an act of fear. Fear of your success. Fear of your growth. Fear that your light somehow diminishes theirs. The cruelty aimed at you was never really about you. It was about what they could not face in themselves. Knowing this does not make the wound disappear, but it does something more important. It removes their power. Because when you understand that the betrayal came from their weakness, not from your worth, everything shifts. You stop asking, "What is wrong with me?" and you start seeing what has always been wrong with them. You stop shrinking and you start standing back up. This is not a small thing. This is the difference between a person who survives betrayal and a person who is consumed by it. Marcus Aurelius never became cynical. He never closed. He never armored himself so completely that nothing could reach him. He kept loving. He kept trusting. Carefully, slowly, with open eyes rather than blind ones. He understood that to stop trusting entirely is to betray yourself. It is to let the people who hurt you win the war even after they are gone from your life. The goal is not to become someone who cannot be hurt. The goal is to become someone who, when hurt, does not lose themselves. And here is the final truth, the one that will stay with you long after this video ends. The people who betrayed you were not your greatest threat. Your response to them was. Every version of you that chose bitterness over growth, revenge over healing, closure through suffering rather than action, that was the real enemy. The betrayal was the fire. What you do inside the fire is who you actually are. Aurelius walked through fire his entire reign. He lost people he trusted. He was undermined by those he elevated. He watched loyalty rot in real time. And still he wrote, in the quiet dark of his journal, that the only thing that cannot be taken from you is the character you choose to carry. Not your reputation, not how others see you, but who you decide to be when being good costs you something. You were betrayed. That is real. That pain is real. But you are still here. And that means the story is not over. It means the most important chapter, the one where you decide what you become because of what you survived, has not been written yet. Write it carefully. Write it powerfully. Write it in a way that makes the betrayal irrelevant. Because the greatest revenge is not what you do to the person who hurt you. It is who you become without them.